Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the fuck it is?
Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Fuck being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was sucking on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism,
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bitch bag holders.
Rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
You can clearly tell from the visual standpoint of the podcast if Andy leans ever so back. We're in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the palm trees. So we're in Jacksonville, Florida, the STD side bitch of Florida, of all the Floridas. No, I shouldn't say that. That would be more like Tampa because of how skanky Ybor City is.
I'm not going to knock any of the cities, but I like Ybor City. I mean,
I do too.
Yeah.
I say it's the baby New Orleans, Mardi Gras.
Yeah. This is different though. Jacksonville's different. It's North Florida.
Yeah, and we're staying at a completely different hotel from where they normally put us up at the Ramada Inn, which is where the comedy club is because it's in the hotel. But due to certain circumstances, I have suggested a place change. So, yeah, we're in a different hotel.
So we have a little bit of a commute to the shows.
Not much,
but last night was the first night that I wish we were at the other hotel.
Why?
Because they have this. They have the all you can eat crab legs.
Man, and when you get done at that motherfucking buffet, you want to be wheel carted right back to your room.
And I mean, it's not just crab legs. They have all kinds of food.
Shrimp, raw oysters, fried oysters, mac and cheese, prime rib,
mashed potatoes,
cheesecake, key lime pie, motherfucking chocolate cake, coconut cake. Fucking man, it's a feast, man. It's a feast fit for a king.
So afterwards, after we got done, and they don't start until 5. So
which is the part that I hate
because you feel all that food on you, and that's the only time I said I wish I was at the other. I wanted to lay there until we absolutely had to go on stage, and then maybe while you were on stage, go back to the room.
I could sleep. Dude, let me tell you something. And I said to myself, and Andy already let me know, it's like, yo, go hit that buffet at 5, and I'm going in. And I was like, man, I kept telling myself I wasn't going to do it. Cut to, the day of Saturday. It's Friday and Saturday. We didn't do it Friday, so I'm like, all right, so it's either today or nothing. And about maybe an hour or two away from when it started, I'm in the bed, and I'm just going, no. I didn't want to do it because I just go, it's going to be hard for me to get there and see all of what they have and try to limit yourself to just a little bit. But once you go in, it's the rabbit hole. So I'm like, okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm only gonna get peel and eat shrimp. Probably get about 4 of those. 4 fried shrimp. That's 8 shrimp. 2 things of crab. And it's snow crab legs. They ain't like king Alaskan crab, the big monstrosity. It's snow crab. So I probably get two halves to make a whole. That's that. And at best, maybe some sort of side. And you know what? They didn't have what they normally have, which is the stuffed crab, stuffed baked crab, which I love. I used to get when I was in Jersey from Pathmark and ShopRite. My pops put that in the oven, throw a little Tabasco sauce on that, and the shit was fire. But they didn't have that. But I was contemplating in my mind getting that because I thought they would have it, and they didn't. So I thought, okay, the peel and eat, the fried shrimp, the snow crab, maybe some sort of little bit of side, and a piece, a small piece of prime rib, and I'm done. I must have had 3 helpings of peeled shrimp, half a dozen fried shrimp, the mac and cheese, the macaroni and cheese, a smidgen of prime rib, which I only took a bite because it really didn't. It just, prime rib for me looks better than it tastes. Probably about 4 halves of snow crab legs, and to take back to my room some lemon meringue pie, slice of strawberry cheesecake, which I haven't eaten yet, either one. Yeah, I fell down the rabbit hole, man.
I was doing really good, and I was gonna only eat till I was full, like
Right.
where you just feel full, not
Yeah.
like stuffed. And but then I saw you got that mac and cheese, and it looked really good.
And let me tell you something. I'm assuming that the people making it is black because the only people I seen come out of the kitchen, I saw come out of the kitchen was black folk. And incidentally, the one black dude looked like Floyd Mayweather's uncle, Roger Mayweather. So I'm thinking there's a black touch to this mac and cheese. The crust was crunchy,
So good.
but the cheese and the macaroni was nice and tender. And Andy did some shit that I didn't even fucking think about doing. And before I say what that is, I said to Andy, I don't know what it is. What is the chemical, scientific formula that fucking drawn butter on crab makes that taste so fucking good?
It's perfect. It's like peanut butter and jelly.
Dude, it's drawn hot butter on crab meat. And how you doing the Stevie Wonder? Your head going from left to right. Like, oh. But then here's what Andy did. And the only reason why I didn't go back and do it, because I just knew if I even had a smidget of something else, I was going to be done. I was damn near done anyway. Andy put some drawn butter on his mac and cheese. The way this nigga's eyes rolled back, it's like he was getting a handy from the reverse.
And I only got a little piece because it was the end of the meal, and I was gonna go just try it. And when I put that in there, I finished it off. It was just a little corner. I got the corner piece, so I had all the hard, the crunchy end. And when that hit the drawn butter,
I said, "You motherfucker!"
But that
if there was a dojo, he just got his belt, like the next degree belt for fat man food ideas.
But that took me out.
Oh,
That's what
I could imagine, because that mac and cheese was so goddamn tasty by itself. With a little bit of that drawn butter, that had to be the motherfucking. Oh God, ooh God.
I don't recommend it.
I do.
Because I want to lose weight, and that was the worst thing I could have ever discovered.
Yeah, but look, man, the moment we walked into the motherfucker was the worst thing we discovered. Because it's an all-you-can-eat, and we don't even, obviously, we're the comics, I'm the headliner, we don't pay for it. It's $40 per person. I think it's even $60-something if you do something else with it. But bottom line is, free all-you-can-eat crab and shrimp. Oh, and everything. It was today. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was good.
Couple things before we get to the meat and potatoes. I'm going to, it's been recommended to me several times. And Andy, I know you're not a boxing dude, but for those of you who are, because somebody hit me up on Instagram and said, yo, did you see the Oscar De La Hoya HBO 2-part documentary? And are y'all going to talk about it on the pod? I said, of course I saw it, but Andy's not a boxing guy, so there's no reason that he would really watch it unless he's just interested in De La Hoya.
Yeah, it's De La Hoya.
Yeah. So to that, we're not going to talk about it on the pod, but I did watch it. If you haven't seen it, if you're a boxing fan, yo, it's a great watch. It's some shit where it's like, for what he was perceived to be in his image, clean cut, handsome ladies guy, the women loved him, kick-ass boxer. He revealed he had some his parts of his life was pretty dark. So I thought that was interesting. And then somebody had said, and incidentally, see, again, you're not a boxing guy. Did you follow him at all?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man. Like I said, him, prime Sugar Ray Leonard, and Matt Rife, them the same motherfuckers. Them some pretty motherfuckers, but pack a punch, man. That De La Hoya was the real fucking deal. But when they showed the one part in the documentary when he did his magazine layout, when Bob Arum was upset with the publicist that they hired specifically for sports. And he was like, I wanted you to put him in Sports Illustrated. But she put him in some other magazine that I guess was, hugely popular.
Was it GQ?
No. I never even heard of this. Some magazine that at the time was hugely popular that Aram had no clue about, and she basically was like, I heard you about the Sports Illustrated, but he's in blah, 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 this magazine. But they showed a picture of him, got on a black button down, no shirt underneath, shirt open, hair greased and gelled, six-pack. I went, dude, if you were around in the 90s and you to really get it, Oscar got them panties wet. Oscar did for boxing with casuals, particularly women, what Jordan did for casuals and basketball. Like, in other words, people that normally wouldn't give a shit about boxing watched boxing, women especially, for Oscar De La Hoya. That motherfucker was a model, man. Fucking model.
He stayed pretty, too.
Yeah, even now, I mean, naturally, yeah, you can see he's got the older man weight in the face, but, good looking dude, man.
Yeah, he brought, you could take your girl to go to the fight. She wanted to see the fight.
Yeah, but the thing is, he wasn't you wouldn't lose your girl to him. If some of these motherfuckers, you take your girl, they'll snatch your bitch. He was not that type of dude. And big fight last night. Spence versus Crawford. You know who any of these guys are?
Yeah, I know who they are. I watch sports all the time, but I just not.
But box, you're not a diehard.
Yeah, I don't got stats. I don't know the win-loss. I don't know any of that stuff.
Well, I can't. I couldn't see it because obviously we were working, so I can't wait to get home and
you recorded it.
Watch that. You know what? I actually didn't because I heard through the rumblings it was this weekend, but I didn't really
put it together.
What was
going to be happening?
And what's such a big deal is both these dudes were undefeated. And the people were saying this is kind of a throwback to the great welterweight days of Hearns, Hagler, Duran, Leonard. This had that magnitude and hype. So I can't wait to see it. Last thing, have you heard of this thing on Netflix? People keep bringing it up to me. They clone Tyrone with Jamie Foxx. The black dude from Britain.
I keep hearing about it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but people keep telling me it's a must watch.
Yeah.
I can't Boyega, my man from Britain who was in Star Wars. Him, Jamie Foxx, forget who the chick is. But they say, and speaking of clone, you see the bullshit on the internet where they're saying Jamie Foxx is cloned because they show his picture before the alleged stroke and then after when he said finally resurfaced and talked to the fans, how the difference in his face and head size and all of that.
I saw some of it on, but
you conspiracy theorists are fucking nuts. Really? So where's the original Jamie Foxx? If this nigga's cloned, where's the original Jamie Foxx?
They could do an AI version of him through what they have, and then have him release that as like I'm well, and he could still be.
Okay, I'll buy that. But to say this motherfucker's cloned and what is the real Jamie Foxx in the basement somewhere locked up? Knock it off. Anything before we get to the meat and potatoes?
No, I didn't have anything. I'm out here in Florida. This doesn't do me any good. I mean, I'm holding back a cough the whole time, you guys, because it's just the weather out here. It's so wet and it's so hot, and it rains periodically throughout the day, and just as much as I like coming out to Florida, I don't like dealing with the weather and how it affects me. So that's it. That's all I got.
See It Loud, parts 2 and 3.
Aries makes
they had me in the
a
2
lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
So okay. Whew. Which I wasn't in the third one at all. But they covered drama. The third one was about drama, black television dramas.
Okay.
And they didn't have a lot of,
I thought
comedians or it seemed like they have more people more in the field of I don't know what the right word is, the scientific or technical aspects of the boring motherfuckers.
I don't know why I thought you popped up once.
Not once.
Okay.
But they used that 2 was my shit.
Yeah, he had you in there a lot. You were wearing a denim jacket.
Yeah.
I'm just saying because you give people a hard time when they wear denim jackets to the show.
It just adds to it. Gives me a chance to do the joke.
Yeah.
This is just an off the cuff question. What do you think slaves laughed about?
I would think that just like regular comedy, everything that you have to laugh at everything.
Right. Which is why, again, I'm so
But they would laugh at white folks because white folks would be doing goofy things.
in secrecy. You
Yeah.
think? In secrecy.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think so?
Yeah, but that's a scary chance. You joke about white folks. There's penalties. Is whoosh.
Yeah, but I don't think that they weren't going out to they weren't going to go hang out in the
in the house.
in the slave homes to.
That's why I'm so gung ho about doing this movie, man. Because again, laughter is a natural muscle. It's a natural thing to human beings, and no matter how tragic shit is, you laugh. But I'm just thinking, even in the most horrendous and horrific of circumstances, you would imagine that how could they laugh? What would they ever find humor in? But there had to be moments where they laughed, like especially and later on when we talk about part 3 and the dramas. Of course, the big talk is about Roots. And, when you've seen Roots, they show those moments where I guess on the slaves' day off, they would play music and dance and have a good time. And the white folks would be sitting there on the porch looking from afar like, look at our happy niggas. And they just having a jovial time. So if they could do that, they could laugh.
Yeah,
I'm just curious as to what was funny.
I just think some of the things that you'd see other people doing, the way they would do them, I would think that would be something to make fun of.
Right.
There's laughter and everything. Like your children doing something funny makes people laugh.
Listen, I'm not doubting nothing you're saying.
No.
I think you're absolutely
I think it's
right.
all because it has to, but I'm sure it has to come from a more guttural feeling,
right,
than just a ha ha.
Right.
Because that wouldn't be enough to get you past.
The thing that gets me that I think is fucked up about that thought is, it's like sometimes if your girl pisses you off or somebody pisses you off or something just happens during the course of your day that upsets you. And I always said, being angry, getting angry is a natural thing. Staying angry is not.
Right.
You know what I mean? It takes effort to stay mad. But my thing is, as natural as laughter is, you have to get to a place where you finally, no matter, even in your most horrendous surroundings, you get comfortable enough to where you relax because you accept this is what it is. So in that acceptance, if something happens that naturally makes you laugh, you're naturally going to do what the muscle is intended to do. But the idea that you could get so comfortable in the most horrific setting that you allow yourself to naturally do what you're going to do, that to me is a...
If you're comfortable in a horrific setting, that means that's normalized now. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's your bar. That's your equal. So
wow.
That's where you would just live.
Mm.
People do it. People still do it today. People that are depressed and live in them, that's where they live.
Wow. It's like that saying by that famous black actress, I can't remember her name, but when she said, if you sit and shit long enough, it doesn't stink anymore.
Right. Exactly.
Damn. Dude, I was trying to figure out when they brought it up, what was the relevance of Soul Train? What did that have to do with comedy?
Yeah, it was a series, though.
Yeah. But when they mentioned Soul Train and brought up Don Cornelius and showed the dancers and the Soul Train line and all of that, I'm just going, I know this was important in the black community because it was our version of American Bandstand, but what's the tie-in to comedy?
I guess, yeah, it probably, where would you put a dance music show in that?
I don't know. I don't know that it belonged in there. I mean, if your whole point was to, if your whole point was to point out that in the history of black entertainment and television, this was a big deal, a big staple, then I guess. But I'm just thinking comedy.
Yeah, I thought it was relevant to be in there because see, and it's funny because that was a huge crossover show, I think.
I don't think so. Really?
Yeah.
It was a lot of white people watch Soul Train.
It was on in my house every weekend.
You're Larry Bird.
No, but my mom Hispanic. That's what she watched. I mean, she watched Soul Train. Don Cornelius was someone I knew. Right. Don Cornelius growing up. I knew.
I take that back because I will say white folks are curious, and if they're not used to having black friends of any kind of black experiences, That's a safe way to have it.
Yeah, safety. You're safe.
Right.
You're
What
safe
are these
doing.
niggas doing? Let's see.
Well, and the dances were new. Like and white folks didn't dance like that.
At all.
So they got to see.
Or they took what they saw on Soul Train and applied it to American Bandstand.
And try to. But Don Cornelius, and Don Cornelius was cool, though, that he had the voice.
Yeah.
You know, he was somebody who projected a different, that's not who you, I mean, if you heard his voice, he could be doing anything. He could be doing movies like the.
I'm surprised he didn't do voiceovers.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he could have been doing you always like it. What's that called when it's in the movie? Narration.
Narration.
Yeah,
right.
he would have been great. I mean, he had the voice.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was interesting. Then he's in a movie, and this is something else about when I say crossover. There's a movie called Tape Heads that is Tim Robbins and John Cusack are the lead characters in it. It's about these guys who start making videos, and Don Cornelius is in that movie.
Is he?
Yeah.
Like a cameo?
Yeah, but his cameo was important to the movie because it's also they're making movies, and Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles is in it too.
Oh shit!
And it's a white, it's a white movie. It's
Right.
Tape Heads, and it's like I just told you who the two leads were.
Right.
It's pretty white guys. So that's why I said he had an effect that crossed over because that was his show. I mean, that was what he did.
Right.
So it was needed to be in there. I understand your point though. But where do you fit it in then? And it was a weekly show. Just like the shows, the comedy shows that were on there.
Yeah, I you know what I think what threw me, because now that I really think about it, I'm going, this is about the history of Black television.
Yeah.
So that falls under the umbrella. From the first episode being all about comedy, sitcoms,
Yeah.
then the second episode was about sketch and late night.
Yeah.
I was going, this is comedies. But then of course episode 3 is about dramas. So it under the umbrella of Black television and the history of it in America, yeah, it plays a part. I see where it is now. Dude, one of my biggest regrets, and it ain't like because I didn't want to do it. I just was never given the opportunity. I wanted to be on Arsenio Hall so bad.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that on this thing.
Oh God!
And were you not? You were on Mad TV when he was on, right?
Oh no,
No, you weren't.
no! I got on by the time Arsenio hit the airwaves. By the time I got on Mad TV, Arsenio was on his way out.
Okay.
I remember it was such a big deal because I can't remember the lady's name, but it was a white blonde chick who used to book it. And I remember she loved Dave Chappelle. She had her lips all up Dave's ass. Everything with her was Dave Chappelle. And I understand, rightly so. But I remember it was such a big deal that once Def Jam exploded, and we did the first Def Jam tour. Again, it was me, Bill Bellamy, Adele Givens, Bernie Mac, Reggie McFadden. Bill was the first dude who was being booked from Jersey from that Def Jam explosion on Arsenio. And I mean, it was the big, it was like the Pope was coming to town. Like everybody in Jersey, Bob Sumner, the whole camp, Bill Bellamy. And it was such a big deal. And I remember when he was on, everybody that was on the tour, rented a conference room. We all sat and had a party, watched them on. And I just remember that was such a show because Arsenio, of course, was the one and only, Black late night talk show host to rival Leno and Letterman. And it was the coolest show. It was almost like this show ain't for your parents, it's for your kids. It was just such a vibe. And I never got to do that show. And I really believe it was because the chick that booked Bill, who loved Dave, she never seemed to, I wouldn't say dislike me, but for whatever reason, she wouldn't give me love, man. I couldn't crack that nut. I just couldn't crack that nut. And again, this was pre-Mad TV. So I really didn't have no credits but Def Jam.
Right.
But I'm also going, well, neither did Bill Bellamy. I got to take that back. Yeah, because Bill did the movie with Dr. Dre. And remember that movie where they played cops, Dr. Dre and Ed Lover?
Yeah.
I think it was called Who's the Man?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
So Bill was in it. Bernie was in it. So Bill had a little...
Bill hadn't been on MTV yet?
That too.
Yeah.
But I'm going, wait. Did he get MTV? I can't remember if he had MTV before Arsenio or MTV, or Arsenio got him MTV. Because once Bill became one of the VJs on MTV, I mean, he was That motherfucker interviewed Biggie, Prince, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson. Bill was everywhere.
Yeah.
But I can't remember which came first. And if it did come before Arsenio, which I don't think it did, then that's all the more reason. Because I had no credits.
Yeah. But maybe it was in the works at that same time. So getting him on Arsenio would be. I was just wondering that because that's what I wanted to ask you was that would have been a huge deal for you.
Oh God, that would have been. And again, at that time, I was 17. So to be 17 and on the coolest late night talk show would have been incredible. What surprised me was I can't believe, because I thought to myself, and I remember when we were talking about the Asian argument we were having, and I was like, you know, how come there's never been an Asian with their own late night talk show? And in my head, I was like, there's only been one black guy, one Hispanic guy, George Lopez, but there was more than one late night talk show with black dudes, but it obviously didn't fare too well. Do you remember Vibe, based off the magazine?
Yeah.
The original host was Chris Spencer. And Chris wasn't really known, but this was Quincy Jones introducing Chris to the world. He handpicked Chris and was going to make Chris a star. And this is how cold Hollywood is. Chris's run was maybe 3 or 4 episodes. And because the ratings were so bad, rather than stick with Chris and give him a chance, they fired him and hired Sinbad as his replacement. So I did both shows. I did the one with Chris and I did the one with Sinbad. And I just thought, I know these shows didn't really make it. And eventually Vibe got canceled, even with Sinbad. But why didn't they get a mention? Matter of fact, also there was Keenan Ivory Wayans. Keenan Ivory Wayans had a late night talk show, and I did his show too. And at that time, I wore my leather, custom-made New York Yankees baseball jersey with my name stitched on the back and the New York emblem on the chest. Yeah, and I did that show. But again, if it were a hit, if it had a long run, they would have you couldn't help but mention it. But I'm like, damn, they didn't even mention it.
Well, I know you're talking about those. You're forgetting the show that was a black host that was happening.
I know what you're going to say.
Go ahead.
Success.
Yes.
You know why I got canceled? It wasn't a success. Yo, that was an abomination. That was an embarrassment.
Yeah, the first time I watched, it was the first episode, and they started singing.
Who?
One of the guests. They sang a song to him.
Could that person sing?
I don't even remember they could sing. I just remembered it was just so bad.
Yeah.
I never watched it after that first episode.
Magic trying to do a comedic monologue. Oh boy. And his sidekick, kind of like when Carson had Ed McMahon, Magic's sidekick was Tommy Davidson. And listen, man, that was when I was on Mad TV, and that's why we did those Magic Johnson skits. And the joke was always, whatever he did, it got canceled after the first episode.
It was painful, man.
Yeah, listen, yeah. If you're gonna mention in the lexicon of black television and its relevance, you gotta mention the bad with the good. Like Denzel said, if you pray for the rain, you got to deal with the mud too. But I just thought, damn, they didn't even give Vibe a mention. They didn't give Keenan a mention.
It was supposed to be, they're only talking about the hits, the tops, I didn't see, and I'm just saying, maybe I missed it. Did they mention What's Happening?
No.
See, that one kind of threw me off because that was a show that
right.
And
for the sitcoms,
yeah,
right.
The rerun was like in my head, like that.
Right.
I just remember that as a show that I came, because this is what, now this needs to be said, because for people who are more youthful that listen to our podcast, this is what, and they kind of talk about it a little bit. You had to be home to watch it.
Yeah, you didn't have DVR, you know.
It came out on whatever day and whatever time.
Right.
And if you missed it, you missed it. And then you couldn't catch it until reruns in the summertime.
Right. And VCRs were just coming out and not everybody could afford it.
Yeah. They were expensive.
Right.
So this is why some of these shows, why when you get into them, and especially people that are our age that had to see them at the time that they were on, it was part of your culture, like who you were as a person, because that's what you would make time to see those shows. And they didn't talk about it that way. And I think that's important because now we have everything at our fingertips whenever we want it.
Right.
So that's missing from why these shows were even more important.
Right. They talked about back then what they called the Black Pack, which was Eddie Murphy, Arsenio, Robert Townsend, Keaton Ivory Wayans, and Paul Mooney. Who's today's Black Pack? Does it even exist? Who are the group of guys today that you go, they hang with each other, they work off each other, they feed off each other, they create off each other?
Well, I don't know if this counts, but Oprah is the one who built more people up to move on. And then you would have to go to who she built. Who are her big ones that came out of her?
I want to say Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry, and then the other dude is a white dude. It's the
then that stops there.
Yeah, but okay. But I thought maybe there was somebody else that she did. But Tyler Perry, now he has a studio. He has the ability. So I don't know who's in his crew because
I don't think it exists. And we've talked about this before. Whether it's the DreamWorks, Eisenberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen, Katzenberg, and Spielberg.
Yeah.
Where's that Black Pack? It doesn't exist.
But are we not noticing it? Is it there and we're not paying attention to it?
If it was there, it'd be noticeable.
Because he owns a studio.
And that's why that word is important. Pack. Pack means a group. Travel in groups. They're a unit. We got individuals. Tyler Perry's an individual. Oprah's an individual. And even when she brings you up, at some point, I guess they branch off and go, I got mine now. Thank you, but I'm the individual.
Well, she sends people out. She's like, it's time for you to go do the next step. She wants to create a community. Maybe that's where she's looking at it.
I just don't see where there's the community. What community?
I don't know. Exactly. I really don't know.
And that's my argument. We should not know. We should not know. We should know.
Well, what about, has anything come, and this is, I'm asking this question from Barbershop. Has anything come from that? Like these guys all work together.
From Barbershop, you mean the movie?
Yeah. Because if you're looking for the group.
Yeah, that's actors coming together for the movie.
But that's when we talk about, who's the guy that you always talk about? Dude, my brain's not working today. The water boy,
Adam Sandler.
Yeah, Adam Sandler. You talk about his group.
Yes.
So is the Barbershop group not a group?
Nah, I don't think that's the same. I think those guys, first of all, a lot of those guys, it's not like they're being handpicked. They're auditioning.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Adam is going, hey, Chris, Dave Spade, Schneider, Kevin James, come on. That's different. Mark Swartzen, come on. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Back when The Pack, remember HBO once upon a time ago gave Robert Townsend those specials.
Yeah.
And in those specials, he had skits, he had stand-up, he put on Damon Wayans, he would do the skits with Keenan, he would bring in Robin Harris. So that was him specifically going, this is The Pack. And because I'm given this opportunity to do what I'm gonna do, I am handpicking guys within The Pack so we can feed off each other. I don't know that happens now. Who's The Pack that's doing that? And again, I always say, fuck me, take me out the equation. You go, Kevin Hart. All right, put it like this. Remember when they showed the clip where Kevin Hart brought a goat on stage to give to Dave? And on stage, you see that?
Yeah.
And the picture, famous picture, you got Dave, Chris Rock, Kevin Hart. Let's just go with those three. Three of the biggest, most influential comedians right now. Okay, you could say that should be The Pack. Are they all producing something together? Are they all doing something to help branch off and help somebody else?
Well,
It feels individual to me.
Danielle Rawlings is that guy that they brought up.
Who, Dave?
Dave, yeah.
Okay. It don't feel like the same thing to me, but okay.
Well, at one time it was, well, the Chappelle Show brought Daniel Rawlings and brought
Charlie
Murphy and Bill Burr. That was the group that went on the road together to build up their.
I just feel like it should be more intense than that. It doesn't feel intense.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying there's buds of this happening.
Right.
That could turn into something. I don't know. But other than Adam Sandler, who's doing it on when you talk about the white guys, who's doing it other than Adam Sandler? That's it.
Oh, it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than that.
But I'm talking about what you see.
No, I know, but it goes deeper than that.
Okay. Well, maybe it goes deeper than what we're seeing.
No, because if we're doing it, anything we do is going to get a special look because it doesn't happen as often as it should. Anything we do is going to be magnified because we're on the outside looking in. We're not playing in the same sandbox that they're playing in.
But then I go back to saying there's a studio that a black man owns.
Okay.
So then how is it a different box? And how are you not inside looking at this from inside?
You know how many white studios there are?
How many? I honestly don't know. Paramount,
Sony, Warner Brothers.
What is Sony? I really don't know what Sony is. I mean, I know that it's a studio, but isn't that part of another group of studios?
It may be, but what I'm saying is Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
It's just one. Now, yes, you got to crawl before you can walk. So that's good. But, and Tyler Perry just got into who he is.
Yeah.
Now, if he's willing to,
Well, he did it in Atlanta too. So he brought it to a black city as well.
That's fine. As long as he's willing to branch out and help and do what he can do, beautiful. I'm just again saying for Hollywood to have been around for as long as it's been around, and for black people to be as prominent as long as they have been, why did it take so long? And we only still talking about one. Should it be, we behind. It should be more than one. But I'm telling you, a lot of it comes from this individualistic mentality. I got mine, get yours.
I'm interested to see what develops there.
I am too. In Living Color. How groundbreaking was that?
Yeah.
That was another show I wish to God I could have got on.
The reason I say the reason it goes past groundbreaking is the right word, but the reason it goes past everything, I'll never forget that year that the Super Bowl halftime show, everybody switched over from the Super Bowl and went to Living Color. And that was a big deal because I don't care who you are. And I don't care if this is a black and white issue. We can make it anything you want. We're just talking about programming. To get someone to move from their television or to take their remote control out during the Super Bowl and switch it to another station, it's a big deal.
But part of that is what I just said. It was the first pretty much all black sketch comedy show. So the magnitude, it's something that's never been done. And so there's a curiosity. And the fact that it was fucking kick-ass.
Yeah, it was the number one. Wasn't it the number one show?
For Fox?
For sketch at the time. It was beating Saturday Night Live for sure.
No, I don't think so, because they didn't compete against Saturday Night Live.
I'm just talking a sketch show. Who got more viewerships? The Saturday Night Live on Saturday night or?
I think Saturday Night Live.
I don't know.
Yeah, but still, it was for what it was. And then when you think about, again, the phenomenal comedic juggernauts on that show, Damon at that time, who was hot, fire, who was cranking out HBO specials, Jim Carrey, the explosion of the world being introduced to this motherfucker, Tommy Davidson, who was dynamite, David Alan Grier, who was always, to me, more of a subtle funny, but it's so explosive in his own right. Kim Coles, Takia Crystal Kamen, I wish I could remember her name. God damn it, the white chick, who I'd never understood why she didn't blow up. I don't want to say as big as Jim, but damn near the same. Kelly Cofield. Kelly Cofield was incredible. It's like she never really did anything past that, yeah. and that never made sense to me. Just Kim Wayans, That show was phenomenal, man. And even once it started, once Damon left and I forget, I think maybe some other prominent people left, in comes Jamie Foxx. And Jamie kills it with Wanda and his talent. So it just was that was a big deal.
I just don't understand though how those shows. I'm just asking this question. I'm sure you're going to have an answer for me that I'm assuming, but how does Saturday Night Live get to go on forever, no matter what the ratings are, and like shows like In Living Color and Mad TV disappear? Why is it the legacy, or is it because
legacy?
And the show isn't about any of the people that are on the show; it's the show, right?
It's a huge part is legacy because Saturday Night Live, for most of its 40-year plus history, has been a hit show, and when you've had the kind of stars that have come from that show, it's just able to sustain itself even through the bad times because the network is going. This show has been around, like let's say within the first 10, 15 to 20 years, it did its thing. It was flawless victory. So you're gonna throw that away just because a couple bad years or a bad run? And again, like I always say, you can't be around for 40 years and maintain being at the highest level.
No, you're right.
You're gonna hit some lows. It's just the nature of the beast. But again, they've become a pop culture institution. That's almost as normal as, baseball and apple pie. Saturday Night Live is woven into the American culture. It just is.
But when you were on Mad TV, you guys were beating in ratings Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, but at a certain point, yeah. But, that's why Mad TV is no longer, and again, that's why I said 14 years, no other sketch show has had those kind of legs. But really, of the 14 years, 8 or 9.
It just doesn't have the legacy where it can get 5 bad years and continue to go on.
Yes.
Where Saturday Night Live can do 5 bad years and then go, this next year is going to be the year.
And when Saturday Night Live did their kind of like their celebration of its existence, look, all the people that showed up, Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, that's legacy to be able to do that. To get Eddie Murphy on television when Eddie Murphy vowed once he became a movie star, he would never do TV again. Yeah, that's legacy. I wrote this one note about 106 in Park, what the fuck comedy, but that goes back to the thing about Soul Train. Because again, I was going, why is 106 in Park? But again, music, BET, groundbreaking.
And that was the alternative to whatever was on MTV,
right?
That I didn't.
Yes.
See, but I didn't watch that show.
106 in Park.
No, the MTV show,
right?
Because this is the difference too. What was that ever on MTV was geared towards a younger audience, where 106 in Park had range. And so I'd watch 106 in Park because there was music that I wanted to hear about that was on 106 in Park. And it was just done differently. So that was more interesting. I like that, but I don't think anybody cares about our age group anymore.
And listen, this goes to the power of, this whole See It Loud, CNN thing is about the impact of Black television, Black performers and Black television and our contribution to American television and its history. But this goes to show you the power of Black folks is, Andy just brought up MTV versus 106 in Park when, of course, MTV started out as basically no Blacks to some Blacks sprinkled in to eventually becoming all Black in terms of music videos and performers.
One Black dude on the beginning of him, there was the one Black dude.
Michael Jackson.
No, it was the VJ. Who was the VJ?
Oh, I know who you talk about.
I'm going to forget his name. Right. The very first, he was the first.
Chubby nigga.
Yeah, and older. He was the oldest guy that was on there. But he was, I think he was from Chicago. He was a Chicago DJ. And they brought him in. He was one of the first. But it was, damn, I should just look them all up because.
I want to say it ain't Chubby Checker.
No.
But I know it was something. It ain't Chubby Checker. But it's something. Is it Chub? Is there a Chub in his name?
I don't think so. Let's see. Original VJs from MTV. Okay, because I know it's Martha Quinn, Alan Hunter, Nina Blackwood. What's this? Jesse? I don't even know. Listen, Adam Curry. These are the ones that I
remember all of those.
And let's see.
He's scrolling right now.
Where
There's
the
no black guy? Exactly.
They didn't even put him on here, and he's the original.
Look at that shit.
Nina Blackwood.
I remember her.
Alan Hunter, Martha Quinn. Downtown Julie Brown, but she came later.
Right. Wabba, wabba, wabba.
What the?
See how they do us?
You know, Dr. Dre, of course, and Ed Lover.
Yeah, for MTV Raps. Fab Five, Freddie.
Oh, here's the original 5. Let's see. They better put him on here. There he is.
Where?
Right there.
Okay.
Let's see what his name is. I don't know what that list was all about because that was a bullshit list. Martha Quinn.
Still scrolling. This thing ain't popping up.
Yeah. Alan Hunter. Look at Alan Hunter now. Yeah, he looks like he works at the doctor's office. J.J. Jackson.
J.J. Jackson. That's close to Chubby Checker.
You know, everybody was screaming it out while we were doing this. It's listening to this right now. J.J. Jackson. But yeah, so there was a black dude on MTV.
Okay.
But
they just wasn't playing no music except Michael Jackson
but
and Prince.
No, they weren't even playing that at the beginning. My question is, when you're J.J. Jackson, yeah, you get the gig, you're the VJ. Yeah, I'm just wondering, and listen, I don't live that life, so I'm going to ask you this question because you're famous, you lived a famous life. How do you, as the VJ for that, you're seeing all this music, you know all the black music, you're a DJ.
Oh, that ain't his call.
I know that's not his call, but how do you continue to do that?
How do black cops continue to work at the precinct when they know the white cops is kicking our
asses?
asses?
Man, it's just weird because this, and there's video. You know, they were trying to play those classic videos sometimes.
Yeah.
There's classic black music videos that aren't
absolutely
that weren't ever played on MTV.
Absolutely,
ever.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. David Bowie though is the one that hit up. Was it Mark Goodman?
Yes, put him on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay, part 3, the dramas. Scandal, how to get away with murder. Any of those do anything for you? I mean, your girl, you love Kerry Washington, who you love, was on Scandal.
I don't. I know this. I became part of what this. I don't watch regular TV. Do you watch? Can you tell me a show that's on right now on regular television?
No. No.
I can't either.
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, part of me feels like I should be ashamed of myself because later when they dive into these dramas, they talk about show really how black shows, dramas have evolved and how great some of these shows are. And I was going, I don't watch none of this shit.
Because first of all, we're on the road. And a commitment to regular television and how you like to watch TV, which is like you said, I want to open up the whole bag at one time.
Right.
We don't get to do that on network television.
But now with the ability to record,
yeah.
Isn't that an excuse?
Yeah,
we can record.
Yeah, you can record, but I haven't seen anything on a regular television that has made me go, I need to watch the show.
Right. But you're not looking though either,
no,
right?
and I told you, Kerry Washington on that show got really skinny.
She, to me, I was always skinny.
Man, have you seen her now? She's just too thin.
Really?
Yeah. This is me saying it too.
Damn.
So, no, and listen, I'm not just going to watch a show just because someone attractive is on the show. There's plenty of attractive people in the world. Right. I need to be pulled into the show. And I just, we're trying to watch all these new things that are coming on Netflix and on all these streaming shows. I just haven't gone there.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm sitting here and I hear what you're saying, and part of me is going, yeah, but then I'm also going, dude, you watch Ozark, you watch Tulsa King, you watch Mayor of Kingstown, so you make time for what you want.
I watch, first of all, Mayor of Kingstown. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't watch it. Ozark, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't finish watching it. The Tulsa King.
Right.
I was interested because it was Sylvester Stallone, and I wanted to see how they pulled this off and if it was going to be any good. Snowfall. I got
Godfather of Harlem.
I got pulled in a Snowfall because people kept on telling us, and then I watched it, and that's my whole time period in the business that I was in. So of course I got into that one, but I had to have something that pulled me into it, and that's what it was. Out of all the shows you just listed, Snowfall is the only one that I was like, that's a show that I have to watch. Out of all of them that you said, and other than the Sylvester Stallone curiosity of how they were going to pull that off, and now he's also older. I checked it out, and it was cool to watch it, and it was quick.
Right.
But I'm telling you, man, I just, as far as regular television or like even a series, my friends try to get me into watching the Mayans, which was the spinoff from the
I wasn't gonna watch that because I Sons of Anarchy I fell off. So I was like, how am I
Yeah.
gonna invest in the
So
Mayans?
it's the same thing. And some of these, I think, honestly, these streaming shows, as good as they are, maybe 3 years is the most I think I can. 3 seasons, I should say.
Unless it's good enough to keep you.
Unless it's good, but 3 seasons is where the writing kind of just changes. And if you looked at Sons of Anarchy after 3 seasons, it kind of like it was hard to. I had to get there. Had to be something. There were some hooks that got me in. When Katie Seagal's character killed the Jack's wife,
Right.
or that made me go, okay, let me watch a little bit again. But and that's how much I remembered. I don't remember really the storyline after that. I remember that made me want to go, oh, I need to see what's going to happen now. Very few shows though. Like it's just, we have too much. I'm really thinking that we honestly, that as great as this is, and as many people can have shows and everything that we can do now, I don't know that it's good for us because
the saying is, it's too much. It can be too much of a good thing.
And it seems like it's just too much at our fingertips. We can have it anytime we want. It's in our pocket, in our phone, or on the road, or like on my iPad, it's just, it's almost too much. And
here at the hotel.
Yeah, the hotel, the hotel we're staying at right now, it doesn't even have regular television.
It has streaming.
It has only, you go to your streaming channels, and then you could do live TV, and then it has like but it's still streaming the live TV, but there's like 24 stations. That's it. All the rest of it is just streaming. And so it's very, I don't know that this is, like, again, I said, I think that's really changed. I needed to be home at certain time on a certain date. And remember, even back when Sunday programming on HBO, when you had to be home on Sunday so you could watch Sopranos.
Yeah.
And that's the last time I can remember where you had to be somewhere on a date.
Call it appointment TV.
Yeah, that's over.
Right. Yeah, dude. Scandal. How to Get Away with My. I don't know if I'm being chauvinistic, but
I've seen a couple episodes of Scandal. I have, and it's not bad, but it never, on the network television shows too, they kind of draw it out. You know how they draw, how they're like playing for the whole season, the arc.
Right.
When on the streaming shows that we watch, they're giving it to you every episode.
Right.
They're giving you a reason that you have to tune in, and even when they don't give you a great reason, and they're building up the character so that you invested, but they're giving you each character so you're involved. You know the character, and that's not happening on network TV. So it is different. It is different.
They talked about how big of a deal it was, and I never watched the show, but I know the clip. And How to Get Away with Murder, when Viola Davis sits in front of the mirror and she takes her wig off and her makeup off, and I think one of the women even described it as you'd never seen that before, because what made it so important and poignant was that it was a dark-skinned, nappy-headed Black woman looking at herself in the mirror and trying to recognizing the beauty that often dark-skinned Black women, and I hate using the word nappy hair, but, anything that ain't glamorous, which is, if we're being honest, not saying that that's what it is, but, God, what's the right word I'm trying to use here? What's deemed beautiful is long flowing hair, which is why if you weren't ashamed of your hair in the first place, why are you putting on a wig? With straighter hair. So her revealing her nappy hair and wiping off the makeup and her true ethnic features, that was a big deal for Black women to see, because they've often been made to feel like they're not as beautiful or worthy if they don't have the long flowing hair or the, not as aggressive features, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
I think there's I don't know, I'm going to ask you some questions then. the afro, a woman who wears an afro, even a short afro.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me in even in the black community, but I'm sure that the white community. I never asked a white person this, but I'll ask. I'll put this out there. Somehow, to me, I've got the feeling that it almost because a man's hair, a man's afro, and a woman's afro.
You mean a black man's afro?
Black man's afro and a black woman's afro is similar. And the idea in other cultures that don't have afros, there's a difference between the men and the women's look, dramatically different. Where the woman's afro is almost not feminine. I'm not saying that that's not my judgment. I'm saying that's what I kind of have felt, because I'm telling you that what's the Fiji's lead singer, Lauryn Hill. Her afro, when it was big and full, to me, that's a fucking, I'd love that look.
I think some women wear it better than others.
Okay, that's fair.
Is it my personal taste? I don't know that I mind it, but I'm not gung-ho over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if I could grow out a big 70s afro, I'm just not a fan of, I don't know that I'm a fan of that. Like, even when you know, I'm starting to lose my hair now, but even when my hair was in its prime, I would grow out a little bit of an afro, but I didn't want to get ridiculous with it. Yeah. It's just never been my thing.
See,
but there are some black women that wear the shit out of that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you who was sexy to me. I think her name was Boucher and Wright. Oh, I know I'm fucking it up. Boucher Wright. She was in Dead Presidents.
Okay, yeah, I know.
You know, she played the sister of the girl that, you know, Lorenz was originally fucking went and got pregnant. But in Boucher and Wright, her afro in that movie, especially when she come out that trash can and start shooting them guns, I thought that was a sexy look on her.
I have no problem with the afro. I really don't. But but the other look, like, and the way that you make it, I guess, different is, you know, there's the girl. I couldn't forget her name, but she's the one this weekend working with us that's doing the sound.
Yeah,
and she has the dreads.
Yeah,
her sexy dreads, man.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, it depends. To me, it's an individual thing.
And and it also has to do with confidence and rocking what you have.
Right.
But I just felt, you know, when we're talking about these hairstyles and the look, and when you're talking about looking and seeing the beauty, that's one of the things that I've heard from other black men as I was growing up, that they just see it as kind of like not feminine. And if you look at everyone besides, not all black people, because some black people do have some wavy hair or straighter hair. They don't have necessarily an afro. And in the 70s, when everybody wanted an afro, I saw a lot of black dudes that couldn't grow a good afro or women. So it's not everybody that has it. But all the other, culturally, women have straighter, longer hair or flowing hair. Right. So there is a difference in that, where a black woman who has a tight afro, and then I see black dudes going, it just doesn't, they don't like that look, because it's the same look that the guy has.
Right. Like I've seen some black women who are completely damn near bald.
Yeah. And
beautiful, but that's not for me.
Well, what about, and I'm going to forget her name, but the woman who's on ESPN now, she shaves her head.
Who?
One of the new sportscasters on.
Only ones I ever knew about was Carrie Champion and that other one who I can't think of her name. Liz Tafoya? No, that's not the white chick.
It's Carrie Champion, and I know the other one that you're talking about, but Carrie Champion.
I know that shit. Yeah,
it's a whole different story.
Yeah. I forget what city we do where the DJ, the radio chick. Excuse me. Oh my. I don't have one. The radio chick. Her head is damn near bald. It's brush cut.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. But I don't like that look.
So, but I think I think ideals are changing right now. I think that look is different. I think dark women, black women who are dark, I think that look is not what it used to be, as far as where I think people were. I would see people being standoffish of that. I think dark black women are beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful look.
Yeah.
And I think that is changing, but is it have to do, and this is my question, because this is what we're talking about, And you say media presence is one of the strongest things that you can do in America, where people see other people. Is it because there's some more darker women on TV? Is it because there's some women with afros? Is it because is it changing?
I think that plays a part into it.
Because I'm going to be really. This is the white perspective on this idea. I remember when 16 Candles or one of those Brat Pack movies that came out when I was a kid. Molly Ringwald was ugly to me. But by the end of the few years,
Right.
all of a sudden she's like looking good,
Right.
because it's her presence in put it on magazines and the way they look and the way they show it. So I think that to some extent, what we're talking about, and it says "see it loud," I think that it has a lot to do with it, because it is showing women of all different looks. And more so as we get more diversities on television, that you get those different looks, and all of a sudden things that you didn't see every day that might have stood out to you in a way that you didn't like are now becoming where you see it on a regular basis, and now you're starting to find it attractive. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, listen. At the end of the day, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I know that when we had Tim on, we kind of brushed on this. At the end of the day, you like what you like, and no one should be shamed for liking what they like. Now, whether or not your reasons for why you like what you like are something you should say, that's a different conversation. But you like what you like.
Yeah, but again, though, as I see more inclusiveness on like television and people are exposed to more, I think you start to like more, because you see it in different lights and different looks and different ways as it moves through through your television screen.
Right.
And then you notice it in life and you start seeing it differently. And I think I was really, when I started this podcast with you, the idea that television meant that much to me, as far as my eye, adjusting my eye, I always think of myself as an individual that I see things from my own view, but you don't. That your television really does bring some focus into your view.
Yeah.
And so I'm agreeing with you more about that now.
Dude, New York Undercover. Oh, I've said it a million times. My dream job is to shoot a series, one camera, or a movie in New York. But dude, this was a cop show, and I'm like, yo, you get to wear Timbs and shoot niggas? Oh my God.
It was written for you?
It was, Malik Yoba, you motherfucker. Dude, that show was about hip hop. They had some of the biggest names in hip hop and music on the show. Motherfuckers got to wear jeans and fucking casual clothes. Because like sometimes when I get booked for things, you're hired to do a job, which means that it's not about you. It's about what the role requires. And sometimes I get so caught up in, what's the wardrobe? I don't want to wear that. But you're getting paid to be a character who wears what's supposed to be worn. And I'm just like, yo, New York Undercover, I could roll out of bed, get shit out of my own closet, and carry a gun and make believe shoot niggas in New York. Oh, man.
Have you ever auditioned for any parts on that?
Nah.
When you were...
Again, that was all around the time, God, I was in my late teens, I think, when that was out.
Yeah.
Can you look up when that came out?
New York Undercover. When you were on CSI Miami and you wore that all white suit. Wasn't it all white when you were standing? When you were gonna? No, it wasn't an all white suit.
No.
That was something else I'm thinking of.
Yeah, when I was on CSI.
That's when you were about to go in jail in CSI.
I wore an orange jumpsuit when I was in jail, but then I had on like jeans, Timbs, and a button-down peanut butter colored shirt when I did my scene with David Caruso in his office.
So that wasn't your style.
No, it was, but
New York Undercover years on TV.
I was playing a fucking ex-con. And that was a 2-episode deal. I'm talking about like Malik Yoba, regular series, one of 2 stars, 2 leads of the show.
Let's see. It's not telling me what.
Would you put in what year did it come out?
Yeah, but let me try it again. What year did New York Undercover come out? I didn't say it so succinctly. 1994.
1994. So what is that? 75, 85, 95. Yeah. 19 years old.
Yeah, you were just 2 years off where you could have.
Yeah, I moved out to LA when I was 17, so I was 2 years later, and by then I was in that again, the development deal, getting holding deals. So I'm a nobody, just being tied to TV contracts, not doing anything. And plus, that role was for a 20-something-year-old. I couldn't do that at 19.
They're not. They're not doing holding deals the way they used to anymore.
No,
right? Those are done.
Those are done. That's the past. But yeah, man, like there was a point in time, like with Fox, between New York Undercover, Martin, Living Single, Fox had the black audience. All three of those shows was on at the same time. Oh, and Living Color, yeah, Fox owned the black community. But man, I wanted to be on that goddamn show. My man's name, the Puerto Rican that played his partner, and I knew him too. The dude was a cool ass dude.
They didn't bring up Rock on this either, which is another show from Fox that I liked.
Yeah, we talked about that when we talked about episode 1.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I thought maybe they would get to it, and they didn't.
But they did it on the first episode. Remember, they mentioned it.
Did they mention it?
Yeah, they mentioned it. Yeah, you don't remember. We talked about it.
Okay, I don't even remember that.
I'm
just mad that it doesn't get more. Dude, I liked it a lot because it was a show that I understood. I understood it. Anyway, let's go
on. Dude, in his younger days, Cosby was cool as ice. I Spy.
Yeah.
That is a show that's begging to be rebooted. Why hasn't that been rebooted?
Well, isn't that Miami Vice? Isn't that the reboot, kind of?
Nah, Miami Vice had its own vibe. Set in Miami. And I love when somebody brought up, when they did eventually talk about Miami Vice, they said it was half fashion show, half music video.
It was. That was the idea. When
the pastels, the fashion. Don Johnson ushered in the white shirt, sport coat, sleeves up look.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done that.
It was hot for that was a classic 80s fashion staple.
Yeah, for a couple of years, and then people kept doing it,
and then it got cheesy.
Yeah, but yeah, I just think that when they were making that, the idea was a music video, an extended music video. That's what the idea of Miami Vice was.
But to Cosby, I'm just going and listen, man. Especially when we talked about the Cosby doc that came out on Showtime, and they showed some of Cosby's earlier youthful pictures. Cosby was a smooth motherfucker. He was a smooth motherfucker. Nigga, why you got to take booty when you look like that?
Well, you also got to remember too, Cosby was when there wasn't a lot of black guys on television, he was the guy that also would guest host for Johnny Carson.
That too. Cosby came from that time when black people would go, "Oh, black is on TV. One of us is on TV." So he kind of was a pioneer in that sense. And I'm just going as cool as, and I'm not old enough to have been familiar with I Spy. So I can't even be like, oh, well, my dad, I never saw it. I just saw clips. But for what that was, I'm just like, that is screaming reboot in 2023.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. But I mean, two spies. Spies are different now. They're not the same kind of spies they're not out on the streets spying. I mean, it's done in computers, and so it would have to be a different kind of show. One of the things, though, that are you going to get to Cosby, or is it coming up in a little?
No,
bit?
I'm there.
Okay,
that's what I'm mentioning.
Okay, go on with what you're going to say, because I have a take on Cosby.
Say it.
Well, it's on the show, The Cosby Show. This is Cosby was actually like America's dad when The Cosby Show was out. And I know that, that we're talking about how it is in black culture, this series that we're looking at right now. But Cosby was America's dad. But here's the thing that bothers me about some of this that we don't recognize when we talk about the early television and the white shows. They were all bullshit shows. Those things weren't. Life wasn't like, those were fantasy lives. The Brady Bunch didn't exist. Melded families coming together, and then the dad was good and the mom was good and everybody was wonderful and all the children were happy.
It was real in the sense that dad was an undercover homosexual.
That was more real than the actual the Brady Bunch.
Right.
And My Three Sons. I'm just thinking about the shows in the very beginning. My Three Sons, Father Knows Best. These worlds didn't really exist, and if they did, it was in very few people's homes. So the reason I'm saying that is white television was fake. It was built on an idea, on a dream, actually, like an idea that this is how life is, and this is, and they were selling something fake. So by the time black television starts rolling in and it becomes more real and more apparent, that it's more. But the Cosbys is a little bit of a throwback. It's more realism in the Cosbys, but it's a little bit of throwback to that. Isn't life grand? Like, he's a good dad. There's no problems. The kids, the big episodes are when like Theo has a problem. Right. You know what I mean? But it wasn't based on that. It was based on, and you said needed because that was another way to see the black family.
Right.
But this is kind of why I think that was America's dad, because he was above being a problem. And the truth, Cosby, is really, again, more of what what going back.
But again, in knowing with the vein of sitcom, a sitcom's purpose was escapism TV.
Yeah.
And it's a half-hour format, so you're not really gonna push the envelope and do anything that's deemed bad or too deep. It's you got a half hour, and then with commercials, we're really talking about 24 minutes or something like that. And it's escapism. It's supposed to be happy,
right? I understand that, but those are the reasons where I think some of these shows, when you talk about like white television, but they were made to be what you said, escapism, fakes. They were corny.
Okay,
so that's
you saying the white shows or even Cosby? The
white shows. Cosby had a little bit more life in it. They didn't make him goofy like
Family Matters.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the difference. But and one other thing that I want to throw, because I brought up Room 222, and then they brought it up on this.
Room 222. 227?
Room 222, the show about the principal at the school.
Oh shit! Yeah,
you might have missed it. It was on really quick. That was a show that came on in the 70s when I was watching, and that was a great show. But and a black male lead. But that was the rarity. That was so rare that happened. There was four.
Again, that's the there's a black person on TV. Right?
There's four characters that are the main characters in the show, but the principal is the black guy who's the main lead character.
Right.
So anyway, go back to Cosby.
Well, no, I'm done with Cosby. Dude, when they showed, and this is a sore spot for me. The original Mission Impossible on TV. My dad lived for that show, and we had one television, which meant that's what I was watching.
Yeah,
and I fucking hated when that show came on because I'd have to sit there Indian style and watch this bullshit. And every now and then, every 8 minutes maybe, I'd look over my shoulder to see if that nigga was snoring. So maybe I could change the channel. Fucking hated that goddamn show.
Did your dad ever say to you, like you tried to say and you go, Dad, you were sleeping. Did he say I was resting my eyes? Did he ever?
Yeah, I saw that was
the rest of my eyes. Yeah, because I got the rest of my eyes. We only had one TV too.
Right.
Okay. So that show didn't do anything for you.
Oh my God. It's one of those where it's like, I love that joke, Eddie Murphy and Raw, when he talking about, I want McDonald's hamburger. He goes, and then later when you get older, you appreciate that home cooking. But when you're 7, you want McDonald's.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe now if I tried to watch it, I could appreciate it. But at that age, I was just like, what the fuck is this?
See, I'm older than you. So when that would come on, I thought the part that it said, this tape will self-destruct in 10 seconds, or 5 seconds, whatever. And then the smoke, then the smoke would come in.
Right.
I'd love that because I was like, this is science here. This is high. This is counter espionage. Whatever it was, I was just like, I thought it was interesting. And I liked the dun because there were so many bad.
That was it for me.
There were so many bad shows on at that time. There wasn't a lot to choose from.
And of course, the reason why they threw that in the mix is because the one black guy.
Yeah. That no one knows anything about.
So is now that supposed to be Ving Rhames' character?
I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I wondered that. Like, I wonder how close the show is to the movies. Because they always got Ving Rhames. a chick, the one dude who's in those goofy British comedies with the redhead looking dude. So I'm just wondering how close that is to the TV show.
Did you get a Law and Order on there?
Well, I got something in the vein of that.
Okay.
All right, here's my question to you. 18, did it do anything for you?
I thought he was in Rocky. So that part of it, the tie-in to Rocky and Rocky being the movie that we were all watching. Yeah, but after you watch it for a little while, that show went away in my head.
That never did anything for me.
I never watched a full season. I never watched, I wanted to see it because of Mr. T. Mr. T was the reason we watched the show.
Right.
But the show wasn't very good.
I enjoyed A-Team, the movie, with Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper, and Rampage.
I didn't like that either.
You didn't like it?
No.
I enjoyed the movie more than I did the show.
I liked the one guy who was kind of weird in the television show. The one, he was kind of weird. But no, A-Team really, I think it was aimed for a little bit younger audience than I was at that time. But that should have been for your audience, and you didn't like it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Let me just, the baby moms has hit me up.
That's okay. What?
Saint Elsewhere.
That was
you forget that, dude. Denzel started there.
I didn't forget it because I didn't watch a lot of Saint Elsewhere because it was like one of the first doctor shows, and I think it was beyond me at that time.
Right.
And then I started to get into it a little bit later after it's been on for like a year.
Yeah.
Then it was kind of cool to me. It was interesting because if you asked me if anybody was on that show, the only one I really remember from that show is
Howie Mandel.
That's it.
And that was a drama.
Yeah.
So he started out doing drama.
Yeah, and he was kind of silly on the show. He was he? Yeah, he was the silly doctor. He was the levity that was on the show, because you can't have it all be horrible.
Right.
So yeah, even though he wasn't the main character, he was the one that I knew from it. And he probably is the reason why I started watching it. Yeah. Honestly.
Right. All right, this is a question for the black women. You don't have to just be the black women, but I mean, come on, sisters. We know what it is. I want y'all to let me know. I'm putting the bat signal in the air. Meet me on the roof, like Commissioner Gordon. All right. Christoph St. John, Blair Underwood, or Philip Michael Thomas. These motherfuckers right here got our aunties' pussies wet. These motherfuckers here. I think it was Christoph St. John from Young and the Restless, I think. And of course, Blair Underwood from Law and Order. L.A. Law.
L.A. Law.
And Philip from Miami Vice.
As popular as Michael Thomas?
Philip Michael Thomas.
Philip Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
As popular as he was, I didn't see him alter the black culture. Like, he didn't become part of black. Like, his look didn't become the look of black dudes when I went out.
No, but again, for what Miami Vice was, one of the coolest fucking shows, his pigmentation represented us as a whole.
But I'm just saying, like, Don Johnson, you saw all white dudes doing their Don Johnson impersonation. Did you see black dudes doing Philip Michael Thomas impersonations?
Niggas can't all have curly hair with green eyes, nigga. We can't have curly, wet Bahamian hair with green eyes, nigga. Some niggas is who they is.
Okay.
God, if you could pick of the two coolest cop shows, New York Undercover, for you to be on, New York Undercover or Miami Vice.
Well,
and what's so crazy is, again, for me as a New Yorker, I get to wear Timbs and shoot a gun, but then I'm going, nigga, you're a cop in Miami.
I think because of how huge that show was when it came out, and I really didn't watch it all that much because I was able to go out. I was working at a nightclub and I was going out, and so that was on Friday. I thought it was Friday night. I think it came out, or whatever night. Even if it was Thursday night, I was out at the club on Thursday night, so I wasn't watching it all the time, and that's when you had to watch it when it came out. So But I think I would do Miami Vice just because of the intensity that it was at that time and the clothes. And I was part of the 80s and all that
Right.
funky stuff. I would like, and I still like all the colors. I still like throwing yellow into my stuff and throwing some orange. I'm wearing my orange hat right now.
Imagine, dude, you drive a Ferrari, you're wearing expensive Armani suits, you get to shoot a gun, and you're filming in Miami.
Yeah.
And you're Philip Michael Thomas and Don Johnson. The pussy had to be, at the height of that show's popularity. Oh. Mr. Don Johnson is female number 587 waiting to come suck your cock. Oh my God.
Well, listen, I'm not knocking this person, but Phil Collins, 80s singer, but not cool. Like not like this, not
Right.
a 80s sex symbol.
Right.
Just the lead singer of
Yeah.
a band that had great amount of hits.
Right.
And then, something in the air tonight that there's a lot that's cool about Phil Collins, but not his look. And they made him cool on Miami
Well,
Vice.
listen, there's nothing cool about Rod Stewart, especially his look. That nigga looks like a parakeet that exploded in a mine shaft.
But you're right. When you're a singer, you're a singer.
When you're a singer, you get that good. Mick Jagger, Rod Stewart, Phil Collins. Ain't none of them motherfuckers GQ magazine covers.
But they put him on that show and they made him cool on Miami Vice.
Yeah.
So with me being who I am, Miami Vice is the safer one for me.
Yeah. I just would hate the fact that I have to wear a suit every day. I'm not a suit guy. I love my jeans. I love my T-shirts. I love my Timbs. And to be able to do that, nigga, and hold a gun,
80s, then, yeah, do the suits. I wouldn't mind.
That's the key word.
Then I wouldn't mind the suits then.
Okay. How nicely do you think black folks were treated during Roots Run?
On television?
Yes,
You mean what?
on television. Like, because I love when they said over 100 million people watched the finale.
Yeah.
That's beyond Super Bowl numbers, or that is Super Bowl numbers. And I'm just thinking, what's crazy is that was the first time that America, white America, got a chance to see what slavery was, the impact of it, the visual of it, the storytelling. I'm just going, during that run, black people were probably treated so wonderfully.
Either wonderfully or like white people just ran away from them because they didn't want to deal with
Look them in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a big deal in my house. We watched it. We sat down every night and we didn't have a way to record. Remember, we were talking about this. So there was no, I taped every episode on cassette. So I had the just the words, but I had it so I could listen to it anytime I wanted to. I
saw that when I was a kid. Of course, my dad made me and my sister sit down and watch it because he was like, yo, this is time. This is important. LeVar Burton as Kunta Kinte getting whipped into submission to say Toby was very traumatic to me. Seeing the part he gets his foot cut off, traumatic. The part where Kizzy was sold away from her parents, traumatic. As a kid, that shit traumatized me.
It was a lot as a kid. Kizzy was my hero that I walked away from that show. I don't know why, but Kizzy's the one that I tried to write a joke and add Kizzy in it. I don't think black people like me using it.
Right.
Period. It was good, and it was strong. I made her the strong part of the joke, so it wasn't anything bad. But yeah, I could see that. Especially, I could see why that would done. Again, I'm a little older than you, but I was young at that time. It probably came out when I was. I had to be 12.
Right.
And that movie, yeah, that had a deep effect. It had a deep effect. And as it went on, it had an even deeper effect.
Right. Little sidebar. Jack A in her prime, vicious.
Yeah.
227, vicious. Vicious. Here's a question. Both in their prime, Jack A or Felicia Rashad?
Oh, Jack A.
Over Felicia Rashad?
Yeah, because one's a mom.
Fuck that.
Yeah, but you see her as a mom. You still see her as a mom.
Shit. A mom I'm trying to fuck.
And who looks more fun?
Yeah, but I know what you mean. But don't sleep on Felicia, man.
I'm not. She's beautiful and she still looks good.
Yes.
No, but Jackie at that time and just her, her whole vibe
Right.
on television. I don't know what her vibe in real life is.
She's very close to that.
Is she?
Very close to that.
Yeah, then her definitely.
Dude, I remember, and again, this is what's been so trippy about my life is some of the experiences that I've had. I remember, and this is when she was married to Ahmad Rashad, Felicia Rashad. And her and Debbie Allen are sisters. So, of course, Norm was my manager. Norm asked me to go pick her up from where she was staying at the time and bring her to the house. And, dude, I'm in my car, and Felicia Rashad is sitting next to me, and I'm driving her from where I picked her up to Deb's house. The most surreal shit ever. The most surreal shit ever. I wanted to call because me and my father used to joke and go, hey, if you had a chance to bang who? Felicia Rashad or Debbie Allen? And me and my pops was more partial to Felicia, even though Debbie in her prime fame was fucking gorgeous. And I'm like, yo, I'm riding next to motherfucking Felicia Rashad is in my fucking car. My dad would jizz all over himself right now. Oh my God.
You didn't call him?
Of course I did afterwards. But I was just like, oh my God.
What'd he say?
He was blown away. He was like, how she look? How she smell? Was she just like Miss Cosby? Oh God. Oh. As soon as she left, I sniffed her car seat and did the Cosby face. Dude, they brought up The Wire, and I definitely understand why, as impactful as that was for not just HBO, but for what that show was in terms of its realness and grittiness. What's wrong with me that show just didn't do it for me like that?
I don't know.
What's wrong with me? Because people, when I say that, black people look at me like, nigga, what is wrong with you?
I went back to watch it. It's good. It really is good. But it's such a commitment because there's so many episodes. To me, it's the commitment of wanting to get through it.
I don't mind it. Listen, I made the commitment and have watched The Sopranos 15 times over. I've seen every season at least 15 times. And that's six season run. Dude, like I said, after season 3, when they kill off Idris Elba and Wood Harris is no longer in it, I'm done.
It's a good show. It's a good show that really does capture a lot of what's going of Baltimore. So I mean, I get it, but it's a commitment. It was a lot of episodes, and I don't know that but when you say that about The Sopranos, there's episodes I haven't seen.
Dude, let me tell you, I've said this before. The only episodes of Sopranos that got me like, ugh, are the dream sequences. Outside of that, I am tuned in every word, every scene. With The Wire, I would find myself, again, after season 3, like when Marlo came in, the Snoop character, I just was like, oh.
It wasn't moving fast.
It didn't keep me.
I think it's a good show. I really do, but I have not committed to watching the whole thing. But I got to be, like I said to you, I have never saw all the episodes of The Sopranos. I missed some episodes. I never went back to go see it.
The fuck is wrong with you?
I know. I just, when it gets that long, I just don't.
Fucking long. Yeah. Fucking the niggas' cocks are long. Fucking show is not that fucking long.
I just,
it's as short as a fucking rigatoni.
Just not. I'm just not that way. I know what the beginning and what the end is, and I know what most of the middle is. So.
Oh, Andy. All right, my last note, and this is when they started to talk about more shows that are impactful today because they're dealing with the reality in the world in which we live. Would you ever see yourself watching Pose?
I might want to watch it just to see it, just to see an episode. But no, I mean, I don't see that. That's not in my.
Here was my note, though.
But you don't want to even see an episode to see what it's about?
Nope.
The Take?
Nope.
Okay.
Pose and other shows with gay characters. I get that representation is important, so therefore it's necessary. I have no interest in those stories because I can't relate to those experiences in any way. My question becomes, from a family or humane standpoint, you would think there's got to be something relatable to you in that way. But is it homophobic? Is it homophobia that's keeping you from being able to comprehend or accept those experiences because they're seen and told through the lens and the eyes of a gay person? And before you answer, like they showed a clip from one of the shows where I guess the son tells his dad, the dad finds out his son is gay. And he's so enraged. And I don't know if you remember this, but he has the son by the fucking collar and he's dragging him through the house, down the steps, and kicks and fucking throws him out the fucking front door. And the kid rolls and hits the lawn. He goes, you're dead to me. And that's it. Now, again, from a human standpoint, you must feel some empathy. You must feel like, damn, the dad is, even if the dad doesn't agree or like it, you gonna go that far? Physical violence and cutting your son off out of your life? So I get that. I'm empathetic to that. But for whatever these human connections are that I should feel just from being a fellow human being, I'm just going, it's hard for me to connect to that because I'm not gay. And you're trying to tell me these experiences through your eyes and through your lens as a gay person, and I don't relate to that.
Okay, let me say this to you and see if this
is that homophobic on my part?
I'm gonna ask you this question, and then you tell me if you still think it's homophobic. If I was to watch a movie and it was told through the eyes of a black man, and I tried to, and I wanted to relate, and I was relating to you what this meant to me, would you accept my my critique on it? Would you go, or that's how you see it as a white guy, this black character going through this? I think what I'm trying to say is you could get the idea, but you're still going to be living in your skin and your life and your culture that you're not going to completely understand that. It's not going to change you. It might affect you, whereas a human go, that's rough. But I don't think it is, because if I was to go to you and say, well, Aries, as a black man, I saw this movie and this is how it is and this is what happens and this, you would think I was crazy. You wouldn't think that my conclusions from watching the show are valid. So I kind of struggle with this in the idea that they want to project this so that we understand it, but yet if I said I understood what it's like to be a black man through the lens of watching a show, you would tell me I was ridiculous. So there is a little bit of conversation here that's missing, and I don't know what it is. I don't think that watching a gay character on a show that's multifaceted would bother me at all, and I would be interested in it only because I think that where we are today, that every family has someone that's gay in the family or someone that they relate to. It's part of the family, and that they know my sister's gay. I know her. I'd like to see these storylines so that I can understand how it affected her, but I'm not going to understand it from my point of view. Just like I couldn't understand what it would be like to be black from a television's point of view.
But if you know that going in, that you're not going to be able to understand it, and that keeps you from even trying to, or if you know you're not and go, well, I know I'm not, so why bother? Is that the homophobic part?
Yeah, because you should be able to look at it and go, okay, maybe I'm not understanding what they go through, but I saw what they said they just went through, and I would never want that for me or for someone in my family.
Right.
That part you should still be able to grasp that. But I don't think that I could understand or completely go, okay, so this is how it is. It could be for the same reason I just said to you about I can't identify through a character on television what it would be like to be black. So I can't identify what it would be like to be gay.
You know, I know this is going to sound immature, and probably in some ways it is. But dude, what was I watching? There was something that was on TV the other day, and when you kind of got hip to the fact that they were alluding to that these characters were gay, these two dudes, and of course, I didn't know what it was that I was watching. I just had the TV on, but it seemed kind of interesting, so I would look up every now and then. But then once the moment came where these two dudes had passionately kissed each other in the mouth, I'm almost like a baby who's trying to be fed by his parents. And when the spoon got near my mouth, I went like this.
Well,
So what I'm saying is, even if I go to try to invest in this story and try to relate from a human standpoint, and this show is, you look at a show like Pose, this is all about that world. Transgenders, homosexuality. So you know what's in it. That is so off-putting to me that I can only go so far before I go, I just can't.
well,
And I hate to even say that, because that to me maybe is that, again, you're homophobic.
yeah. But that's part of who you recognizing it and understanding that is also part of is dealing with yourself. But I think that one of the things that, like the joke that you have that I think is one of the most genius things is the gay delay. And it is off-putting. I'm not going to lie, it's off-putting. And I had a gay guy tell me something that made it harder for me to see those moments, and he was just being honest with me. He goes, Andy, you don't understand. Gay sex is a different kind of sex. It's not like it's rougher. And he was talking to me about it. When you meet someone and it's just a physical relationship, it's rough. And he said it like that.
Word,
it's rough. And so, that's in my head when I see these situations also. Right. So, but that being said, I think though that they build up the show, understanding what someone goes through builds up empathy. Now, here's the question that I have though. It's normal when you watch a show to see a man and a woman kiss, right? Yeah, no, but just wait a second, because I'm not going to go exactly where I think you think I'm going. But it's such a benign part of the show, and sometimes it's just a quick kiss, or yes, there are some shows where it's a passionate kiss, but these shows seem to have a lot more based on, and this is where I get kind of confused. The idea that I said, and I think I've said this before, the idea of the sexuality part of your sexuality is one thing, but the sex,
right? How
much sex do you have time for? And when the show is based on the sexual encounters, and you're telling us, the idea is that sex is only 10% of your life. How you go through life as a gay person, dealing with things is really the part. But when you make a show, it seems like it's a lot more than 10%. It seems like it's more like 50% of the show.
Right.
And so that's my question: is how are we delivering these messages? And then also to this point, I do have a lot more empathy for someone who's gay than trans, because I've been exposed to the gay plight and seen in movies and development, and people that I've known that are close to me, and people that my mom has worked with, and people that have come over, that I've known. So I have empathy for someone who's gay. But as far as trans goes, they kind of push this agenda before they ever develop the empathy part. Like now we're seeing it, more with some shows and how they're putting it together. But I was never exposed to the empathy part. They just push this, and this is the agenda. This is where we are.
So, I love how you put that.
So this is some of the crossroads that I'm in my head mentally dealing with and trying to understand, because sometimes I question myself whether my feelings on certain things. Which and again, this goes back to, I don't care how anybody lives their life. If they live their life and they're comfortable in what they're doing, that's fine. I'm not trying to make any changes or telling anybody that it's wrong. What I'm trying to understand is why some of these things are the way that they are right now, and how they came out the gate like this. So that's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, first of all, you would have gotten crucified by today's standards by the fact that you said, you see a man and woman kiss, that's normal.
Yeah, I know.
As though not seeing a man and woman kiss is something wrong with that. Well, so they would crucify you just for that.
But what I was saying, it's normal on television to see that.
I get what you mean, but this is the minefield.
The minefield is that there's no such thing as normal anymore.
Right. The fact that you would say it's normal for a man and woman, but it's not normal for a man and a man, or a woman and a woman. And as I mean it, it's normal on television to see it that way. That's how it's been broadcast on television most everybody's life. How dare you, Andy?
Yeah. But the way they're projecting this, it almost seems like the sexual part is the basis of life.
You talking about life on television or just gay life?
Gay life, the way that they portray it on TV.
Right.
That this is the most important aspect. When the way that I have been explained from gay people is this is just a part. This is a small part of my life. It might be rough, but it's a small part of my life.
Right.
Where me going through my day, where when you really see it, it's like when you're at your job. Let's say you're at your job and you're going to work. And you work in a place and there's many straight people and you might be one of the only gay people there. So then there's the time when they're going to have the company picnic. Now that's an important part of life. Now this is where, like I said, empathy builds, because now here's this man who might have to he has to make a decision. Do I bring my significant other to this event? And now everybody knows I'm gay. And even if they didn't know if they already knew I was gay, but is this going to be weird? You know what I mean? There's a lot that goes into that conversation. Right. And that to me is life. That's where, that's where I'm going. I want to, that makes sense to do this. But then, they don't show that part in a lot of these things that we're seeing. And we're seeing them, they go home and then now they're just in bed. I'm a little, I don't know if that's if you watch the show and I said a straight show, a heterosexual show, and half the show was the guy at work and the other half was him trying to be in bed with his girl. But I mean, I guess there is some of those shows when you don't think about it that way, because you see guys, they're out and they're at the club and they're trying to hook up with a girl. But I'm not even talking about that. You see those in these shows, but I'm talking about it's just a different perspective. And maybe I just
would be concerned about at the company picnic if his significant other put his dick in the macaroni salad. I know that was so random. Oh, that's all I got.
Yeah, well, I ain't eating macaroni salad at any of the picnics anyway, so we're okay. Yeah, man, I know it's a different. It's weird where we're leaving it, but yeah, I'm sure we'll get some letters and we'll hear about it.
I mean, listen, I think it's a good thing when we can welcome the conversation. So, if we still have, I remember initially, we had some gay listeners. I wonder if we still have them. Because remember, we had the one gay dude who wrote in, which I would have Steve play, "It's Raining Man," and he said he was gay. And then we had the transgender Nick, who listened to the podcast. So I'm wondering if we still have, or do have any gay listeners. If so, I'm gonna put the nipple clamps in the air. And I need you to meet me on the roof with your G-string and your pride flag. And let me know what it is.
Yeah. Is that a show? Oh, we need some dates.
Yes.
Listen, guys, we're on the road. We got some good shows coming up.
On the road again. I can't wait to get back on the road again.
Here we go. Let's see, where are we right now? We're in Florida, in Jacksonville. So you guys are going to be listening to this. Hey, we're going to be in Mic Drop, San Diego, California, August 3rd through the 5th. As you're listening to this, you can come out and see shows that weekend. It's our second time there. It's a buddy of ours club, and it's a great club. So
KC,
come out and check it out, man.
From Boston.
August 11th through the 13th, we're going to be at the Raleigh Improv, and that's in Cary, but right there. August 17th through the 20th, we're going to be at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's fun to go back there. August 24th through the 27th, we're going to be at Tommy T's in Pleasanton, California. My boy Matt's going to come out and take us to lunch at that place.
Is that right? Okay.
August 31st through September 3rd, we're going to be at the Helium in Philadelphia. September 15th to the 17th, we're going to be at Louisville Comedy Club. That's in Louisville, in Kentucky. September 29th through the 30th, we're going to be at the Improv. Well, Ari's going to be at the Improv in Kansas City, Missouri.
He's going to be here too.
October 6th through the 7th, we're going to be at Hartford Funny Bone. That's in Manchester, Connecticut. You want to go ahead and...
God, it feels like we were just there.
And I thought you were going to give it the Tom Brady impression.
Is that? But that's not.
It's Manchester. No, but it's Manchester.
There's only fucking one Boston, Manchester kid.
Yeah.
I don't fucking do the voice unless you're talking about the real fucking Boston.
Yeah.
All right, mind yourself. I swear these fucking Jews. You give them half a fucking inch, they take all your money.
October 13th to the 15th.
Bobby Patterson, by the way.
Yeah. October 13th to the 15th, we're going to be at the Orlando Improv in Florida there. And then October, I stretched this out so I could say this. October 19th through the 22nd, we're going to be at the Chicago Improv in Schaumburg. And October 26th to the 29th, we're going to be in Milwaukee Improv. And that's
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, we haven't been back there in a while. So,
in a while. It was once.
Yeah.
It was only once.
Yeah. But what's been like a year and a half since we've been there?
Maybe, yeah.
So we're excited to get back there. So want to make sure we put that one in there. So you guys, if you're out in Milwaukee, please come back out and see us. We love that club. And, you know, for being the first year, I think it was open that we were out there.
Yeah.
Man, comedy culture. I mean, they got it. So it's one of those clubs that we have circled on the list. Excited to go back to.
There it be.
All right.
Oh, guys, if you haven't checked it out, I'm excited because the final episode, when I get home, I'm going to watch Last Call on HBO about the serial killer that was murdering queers in New York City. Last Call, 4-part documentary. It's fucking awesome.
So you have no problem with watching dead gay people?
I'm gonna leave this one alone. I'm not fucking touching that.
No, but you know what? For people who haven't seen the series, do you want to explain what it is?
Yeah, there was a serial killer in the mid '80s that was basically killing gay men in New York,
singling them out,
and he would pick them up from bars and stuff. Hence the title, Last Call. But it's a great fucking doc. It's you know, again, when I love a good, like when Andy put me on to Night Stalker, the Richard Ramirez, of course, the Dahmer movie, the one thing we watched about the Times Square killer, and now I'm watching this. These things are awesome, man. You know, they put like a good novel, a good book.
Well, because they have all that information. I mean, yeah, it is actually very interesting. So if you guys want to check it out. I'm sure we'll be talking about it on the pod. Is that a show?
I think that's a show.
All right, man.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this shit, it was hosted by Ari Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.